Hey, welcome back to Full Count Podcast. We all planned to have a better year. 2026 was looking really good for mortgage rates. People like Nick were excited to buy more property. But, plans change when crap happens, and politically speaking and economically speaking. The Iran war has caused so much of a struggle for all of us agents that are realtors and home buyers, home sellers. We were finally seeing, right, Nick? We were finally seeing at the tail end of last year interest rates coming down. And even into January, we were seeing rates staying down and people were getting excited. Things were looking really good in the overall US for real estate. And then Iran and US and Israel happened and it just kind of screwed everything up. It was a wrench in there. Have you been seeing people in your community, Nick, talk about this? Like, what are you hearing on the street?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all seeing gas prices and oil prices going up, right? And I mean, with that comes higher inflation. Prices of everything else goes up because it's all affected, right? Then that leads to mortgage rates going up because everything gets more expensive, including borrowing money.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing, at least from the corporate side, at least what people are saying.
Yeah, so we were seeing rates at like low mortgage rates around low 6%. And mind you, people listening and watching, I'm not a mortgage lender, but this is what the lenders are telling me. This is kind of what I'm seeing, or what I had seen at that time. We were close to six. We were at six or even below six, 5.8 to 6%.
Mhm.
Now we're back at 6.4%. Mind you, today's Friday, and there was a ceasefire that was talked about because of the Strait of Hormuz is, they might allow oil tankers to go through. So oil prices dropped. I think it's at about $96 a barrel at the moment. It was at 115 at the all-time high. And that allowed for rates to basically go down. So things are going a little bit better by only 10 basis points. It's not much. But if there's this talk in Pakistan between JD Vance, the Israelis, and then those from Iran, if it goes well, we will see interest rates get better, hopefully. Last year, what we had seen was there was the whole tariff war that caused
Yeah.
a big hiccup in the interest rate environment, and then everything got better towards the middle to the end of the year. Hopefully, that kind of happens here, but we have no idea. This is war. This is a different commodity in terms of scenario, I guess you could say. But what I did see, and this is an interesting statistic. Let me know what you think, Nick. Research. I'm going to read it. Research from the St. Louis Fed confirms, and although it excludes 2020, nearly every U.S. recession since World War II preceded by a sharp rise in oil prices. And essentially, it said that if oil prices doubles, it's very likely a recession will take place. In January
Mhm.
of this year, I think oil prices were about $60 a barrel. They shot up to 115, so it just needed $5 more for it to double the oil prices and basically guarantee a recession. However, like I just said, oil prices fell down. So
Right.
maybe we're not going to get into that recessionary period because of the ceasefire and if everything goes well with this negotiation. But
Yeah.
everyone's kind of in panic mode right now. And that's why investors, Wall Street, the mortgage rate environment, mortgage backed securities, people are not feeling too great. And I'm kind of seeing some worry, some buyers and sellers. But I want
Mhm.
everyone listening and watching to feel and understand that we may be okay after all, like it was last year. So hopefully, I'm really hoping that things get better. But I don't really know what the next step will be on
Yeah.
interest rates.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so, right? We can only pray that that's not the case. And I mean, I could
Yeah.
definitely see why that is because I mean, if oil prices double, like you said, right, then it's just such a sharp increase in inflation, and the prices of everything
Yeah.
go up, and the Fed doesn't have time to respond in order to adjust, right? So then, in turn, that leads to a recession.
Yeah, and speaking of inflation, the CPI report, a number just came out for March, and at the time, the year-to-year CPI report in February, right, which was a
Mhm.
few months ago, that was at 2.4% because of the March report, because they
Mm.
took into account oil prices going up, gas going up, at like you said earlier, it went up to 3.3%. So inflation's
Mm.
ticking back up.
Mhm.
But if the ceasefire takes place and there's an actual, good negotiation that takes place for all sides, I guess you could say, or more so on the U.S.
Right.
side, through the Strait of Hormuz, and it opens up, and there's because I think on average there's like over or close to 135 oil tankers that cross that water area per day. Right now, it's been like 5 to 0, right? And because of that interest rate, the Federal Reserve now has a problem on their hands. And I really hope that the Federal Reserve considers maybe lowering rates. But if there's, some type of negotiation, then maybe April, May, June, July, we'll see CPI go back down and we won't have an issue.
Right. Yeah. Let's hope so. I mean, that's probably the best case scenario, I think.
That would be the best case scenario, but this is war, and I don't know. I feel like this is going to take a lot longer than everyone expected or hoped for, although some people are saying this is exactly what was going to happen, and that's why some people are against it, some people are for it. We won't really go into that subject. This is real estate and business, so let's stick to that.
But a side note, I mean, as it relates to gas prices, right? I mean, I know here in Florida, it's been over $4 a gallon, and I was looking at
that's great.
The gas price, map, and I see there. I mean, it's like almost $6 a gallon.
Right now, if you get the cheapest gas, 87 grade, it's about $5.99 to $6.10.
Yeah.
And then obviously it goes up on the premium.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely hurting people's pockets. This is why it's important for people to invest in assets that appreciate in value. Same thing with like gold and things like that, because if you leave your, as we said before, other guests that have come on, they're financial advisors. You leave your money in the bank, you're going to lose that money because of inflation, and nobody wants to be in that position overall.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yep. Now let's go into real estate really quick. The Case-Shiller Index, which is like the gold standard for real estate that tracks home prices, they saw price appreciation take place in January of this year, because they're always a lag of like 3 months. It went up 0.9%. So home prices hardly went up nationally. Although that's an average, it could have been in particular pockets of a neighborhood or city. It could be negative or way more positive, but overall 0.9. FHFA, which is more so homes that are, on the lower price point, they went up about 1.6%. And then there's totality, man. I think some people think home prices are going to fall like you, Nick. I think you're more skeptical that home prices will fall, or at least some of your friends in real estate are, because I always hear, real estate prices are going to crash, and maybe they might, but maybe they won't. Even with this Iran war and interest rates going up, maybe prices won't go down too much. But Totality, which is a real estate organization, they believe by end of year, even with all the crap going on, price valuation in the country is going to go up about 4.7%. I don't know what you think about that, Nick, but would you be betting your bets with them if that's the case, or do you disagree?
The prices are going to increase
by 4.7% in the next 12 months this year.
I mean, that's kind of, I would think personally that's a little much high in that short time frame, So I think that's being maybe quite a bit optimistic. But
I agree. I agree. I could see closer to 2.5 to 3%.
Yeah, that's a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, I think some people are a little bit too confident that this Iran situation is gonna, get solved. I don't think it's gonna get solved. In the Middle East, there's always problems going on. And it's kind of like it's always going on. There's nothing you can really do. I was doing some research and had seen the invasion in Kuwait in 91, and then what's the other one? The Iranian Revolution in 1979 and 80. Oil prices had doubled at that time, and there was a recessionary period. So as we were just saying a little earlier, if it goes up to 120, it's going to double from the time in January. There's going to be a problem. So I think everybody needs to take a look at the oil prices for the barrel of oil and see if that mark hits at 120 or more. I think we're in a major issue. But right now it's about 96. So hopefully these guys make that negotiation take place.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully,
but I don't know.
They'll drop back down.
Yeah, JD Vance, he's kind of been out of the spotlight for quite some time.
He really has.
Yeah, it's been Marco Rubio. You've been seeing those memes, and people really have been rooting for him that are on that side of the the politics. and JD Vance kind of just disappeared. And I think they're making it sound prior to this going on that he was kind of against the Iran war. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why they're sending him to Pakistan with all the other representatives in Iran and Israel to kind of broker this deal. But I don't know. Would you have your bets on Vance that he can probably negotiate this, or what do you think?
I mean, he seems like a good talker, a good
Yeah.
negotiator. If anybody, I mean, I think better than Trump for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
I
I
think
think he'll be
Rubio's
more a
probably
bit
a
more
little bit more
personable.
talented. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I was just saying either of them would be more personable than Trump. I think so.
Right. Yeah, I agree too. I just think because Rubio has been on the forefront, right? He's been on the
Mm-hmm.
camera talking
Mm-hmm.
about this Iran war and how he's like more so for it and things
Right.
like that. I think he would be bad to send to Pakistan because the Iranian reps are going to be like, no, dude, go away.
Yeah.
JD Vance has been out of the spotlight. Maybe there's been a strategy there to, put him at the front and then put Vance at the back, but who knows?
Right.
But
Yeah. He is.
I really hope that this deal goes through. We're going to know Monday morning. Today's what? April 10th, Friday. We'll have to find out on the 13th to see if this takes place, but it might take a few days.
Mhm. Yeah. I would think more than a few days, but we'll see.
It may take a few weeks, may take a few months, it may take a few years, but hopefully it
Yeah.
takes a few days to a few weeks with
Yeah.
Vance there.
Hopefully.
But if he does broker a deal, maybe he has a better chance of becoming president or a nominee
Mm-hmm.
over Rubio, but we'll have to see. So
Mm-hmm.
let's move on to data centers. I want to touch on that, or more so you. I think that's an important topic. The reason being, too, it kind of
Yeah.
goes back to Iran. Iran has been targeting Amazon and places in Oracle, the data centers specifically, and even Amazon said, it actually took place in Bahrain, I think it is. How do you pronounce that? Bahrain, and UAE. They've actually
Mm-hmm.
took some drone strike hits from Iran, which is just kind of a side note to keep in mind. But go ahead and
Right.
talk about data centers in the U.S. and what people think about them.
Yeah. I mean, so for those of you that don't know, right, AI is great, but it's just not all in the cloud. So to power all of this AI from ChatGPT to Grok to all these other AI tools, right, takes a lot of computing power.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is building these huge data centers that basically run these AI models, but they take up there's good and there's bad to it. They take up
Hmm.
so much energy and just resources that a lot of people are skeptical and actually very against having these data centers built in their communities. So if we look at this, there's a couple things we can look at, right? So let's look at the positives first. So
Yeah.
one is, okay, create some jobs, because usually it's, these data centers are built in rural communities, right, where there's a lot of
Yep.
land.
Right.
So one,
Open land.
it increases the prices of just land real estate in these rural communities. So that's more or less a positive, right, for people that own this at least.
Yeah.
Um, it
Agreed.
also, create some jobs, not too many, but I mean, for these smaller communities, it's quite a bit. So it's
Hmm.
usually majority of the jobs are created when these things are being constructed, right? And then once
At
they're
the very
constructed,
beginning.
the
Right.
downside is that they're really not too many jobs that continue on. So I think I was looking at some of the research behind it and the statistics behind it, and I mean, it can range from anywhere from 50 employees to 500 employees for a really big data center. So it's
Oh,
really not
wow.
that many jobs that continue on after the construction of it,
So
right?
550 like minimum employees will stay behind and maintain
No,
the data
50,
center.
it could be, yeah, it ranges from 50 employees for like a
Oh,
smaller data
50.
center, smaller,
Okay.
to 500 employees for a really large data center. I think one of the ones they referenced in one of the articles I was referencing was one data center that was just built in Louisiana. So it was a very big one.
Mm.
So, but so I mean, positive and negatives there, right? Just going back to the land piece, yes, it'll increase the value of this rural land, but then it's also taking the land from other things like agriculture,
Right.
farming, etc. Right? So
Right.
cost and benefits there. One of the main things that people are worried about, though, is how they cool these data centers. So they've been cooling
Yeah.
it with water. So basically,
Hmm.
using up all the water for these communities to cool these data centers and to keep them at a regulated temperature, right? So that's one of the biggest environmental factors. And then the other one is the use of just electricity to power these data centers.
Right.
So I think there was one of the statistics I was looking at was some of them take up anywhere from like 100,000 homes to a
That's a lot
couple like 500,000 plus homes just for one data center,
for the
right?
usage
For
that
the
you're talking
usage.
about. Okay.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes. For
that's a
the
lot,
electricity
especially for
usage.
small towns with like only 1,000, 2,000, or a handful of thousand people.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but people are very skeptical and actually a lot are against having these data centers built.
Are
So,
there
I mean,
protests or violence going on, like against this construction taking place, or maybe a data center's already
yeah.
scaled up and everything's going, but is there like problems going on? Did you see anything like that?
I've heard of like some protests going on.
Hmm.
When I can't reference, maybe we can link it in the show notes, but
Yeah.
I know there have been protests regarding this. Mainly not necessarily in the places that they're being built, but close by, like the major cities close by.
Hmm.
But other than that, I really haven't seen anything. Have you?
Okay. No, I haven't so much. No, I'm speculating that, maybe something like that will take place because people will get angry.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, are these data centers taking jobs away from the community? Probably not, right? They're
Yeah.
just taking a toll on the resources in the area. I thought
Right.
I read something as well that these data centers like give off heat into the community. Like it makes it a lot
Yes.
more. Okay, can you touch
That's
on
why
that?
they
Because
need. Yeah, that's why they
the
need so much
water.
water to cool
Okay.
them.
And
Yeah.
that's the effect.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you want to go down the conspiracy route for a second,
Yeah,
some
let's go
people are
down the.
saying that that's why
Uh-huh.
we're going to the moon to look at and basically use that as real estate to house these data centers
Uh,
because the temperature on the moon, right? So, but who knows? It's obviously conspiracy theory, but
I mean,
who
that's not a
knows?
big. That's not like I don't think that's like a controversial conspiracy theory because that's basically research that that what basically you're saying is the
Yeah,
astronauts and NASA and whatever is going up there to see if they can place data centers up in space, and that's the point of going up there, right? Is that what you
well,
mean?
they didn't come out and say that, but people think that could be one big reason. Yeah,
Okay, but that's not. I don't think that's super controversial. I think if anything, that's smart, don't you think?
yeah. I mean, it is a good idea, I guess.
Yeah.
we'll
Instead of
we'll
having it
see
down here.
what impact that has. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know.
especially like in the future, our adversaries of the US government, they may start, or in general, all over the world, they might start attacking data centers and drone striking them. I
Yeah.
think it's a lot harder to do that if you're in space, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, true. I don't know how they would get the communication though between here and there and
Yeah, no
how
idea
fast
with
that would be, but
satellites. Yeah.
you know, so that's why I say it's a conspiracy theory. But I'm sure
Right.
there's some way. I mean, we communicate with the astronauts, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure that it's possible at some level, right?
I think it'll delay a lot of communication, but who knows? I don't know anything about that topic, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
So
something to think about.
the toll of like the utilities, which is in the community of water, does that
Hmm.
mean like other people in that community, the residents there, their water bills going up because of the usage taking place? Did they say anything in regards to that or not really?
I didn't see anything in regards to water prices, but definitely electricity for sure.
So electricity prices are going up.
Yes. Yes. And
Okay.
also, so these data centers also need to have connection to like fiber wiring, right? For
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
connection. So, I mean, it does obviously take a toll on that as well.
How so? Do you know?
Just taking up bandwidth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. From the community, right? Because
Well, that kind of
you need
sucks.
to have you need to have a robust infrastructure. Um, but it takes up a lot of resources in that aspect too.
Yeah, that sucks. I can see the problem there. I
Yeah.
can see the problem there, but at the same time, if it's bringing in jobs, that can definitely help. Hopefully, there's a way to structure it with like the mayor, the council members there, or whatever, state
Right.
senators that can make it a thing where the data center isn't going to, maybe pay more so the electricity bill doesn't go up and kind of
Hmm.
stays stabilized for the residents of the community. But who knows? I don't know,
Hmm. Hmm.
exactly how that works. But are
Yeah.
you bullish on data center companies to invest, stock in? I know we kind of talked about it at some point last year on one of the podcasts, but would you say that'd be a good play or probably not?
I mean, I really haven't been following them too much recently. I mean, I would say just from everything that's going on, yes. For long term, debatable.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more short term thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's actually a good point. I need to research a little bit more on how their stock
Yeah.
prices are doing.
Right. And
Um,
I think we even looked at home prices in the given area, that a lot of these home prices where these data centers are, even a few miles away, very cheap
yeah,
in comparison to like places like Tampa where you're at or where I'm at in California,
right.
that
Yeah.
it might be worth investing real estate in, because like you were saying, the dirt's going to get, or the land's going to get more expensive, but
Hmm.
I don't know the true runway of how much that appreciation will take place given
Yeah.
jobs are short term.
Yeah. It's actually what I was going to touch on. Um, is so when it relates to real estate, right? The construction of these data centers they're gonna create a lot of jobs. So it's gonna be more short term, short term rental, short term housing, that type of stuff.
Hmm.
But the thing is that once it's completed and all these people, all these workers, and all these people leave, then whoever's owning these properties, right? And
Vacancy.
maybe they built a bunch of hotels, whatever it is,
Hmm.
they're just going to stay vacant now, right?
Yeah.
So that's obviously going to decrease things and the whole value of the investment. So that's another controversial, topic with
Hmm.
having these data centers built. It's similar to how, and I mean, I think just as far as regulations go, the building of these data centers is definitely going to have to be regulated, but they're going up faster than the regulations can be passed and pushed
Right.
out.
Right.
But looking back on, say, the manufacturing industry, right, the like the industrial age, the mining, age, when it's very similar, when they would start a mine in a small rural town, right, create all these jobs, but then would just be temporary. Once the mine dries up, all these people leave, and then the town becomes a ghost town again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's going to need to
It's
be
true.
regulated. I guess more so like the manufacturing industry, right? And coal age and that kind of stuff uh, to protect the environment, more or less.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see. Like, I know these data centers, they usually broker some deal with the U.S. government to even build
Yeah,
these, right?
right.
What if there's a way? I'm sure in AI, someone can look it up. That if you're looking to invest in real estate out there and house these people, you could probably get a grant from the U.S. government or some form of that ability to basically create some type of real estate for them or convert retrofit a building to house these people, these
Mhm.
temporary employees, and get money that way, that cash flow, and then bounce when the place is basically built. There's always, I think there's always ways to make money like that, but it's one of those things where it's just temporary, so not
Yeah.
like a long-term way of making income. But I was just thinking as you were talking too, there's a lot of uh, private equity companies or just real estate
Mm.
like statutory trust, Delaware Statutory Trust, DSTs. I believe they're investing heavily in data centers across the United States. So
Mhm.
it's probably something to really think about in terms of investment wise. Who knows, long term play, short term play. But that's definitely something I
Yeah.
probably should be asking, or we should be asking one of our guests that are in finance, which we will be having someone named Mia. Her name's Mia. She's a financial advisor. I'll probably ask her this
Mhm.
question in particular, see what she thinks at her firm, if that's maybe something we should look into or not.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd be curious to see her response on it for sure.
Yeah. Now let's switch it up and get towards the end of this podcast episode.
Mm.
Let's talk a little about
Okay,
baseball.
nice.
Baseball's finally in season, man. Like spring training was fun. The World Baseball Classic was fun. Italy did very good, Nick,
Mhm.
although
Mhm.
they lost. It ended up being U.S. versus Venezuela, and unfortunately, the U.S. lost. But it was a great series. We're seeing NBA is now, it used to be number two, so it's always been football, NBA. Now we're
Right.
seeing, because of the whole worldwide attention to Shohei Ohtani and things like that, it's football and baseball. And I think there's a lot more growth for baseball coming up. And I'm
Hmm.
really excited about that. And baseball season's here. So, there's a lot of single people out there in the world. And, there's something going on at the Dodger Stadium where in the bleachers, singles can essentially meet their potential wife or husband out there. And I just think that's kind of a funny situation, because not only
Yeah.
does the Dodger Stadium or the Dodger organization, they don't need more money. They have so much people going, but this is going to bring demand going even further. It's going to
Right.
cause more relationships to grow. But at the same time, that place is rowdy. That bleacher area where this is taking place, it's very
Hmm.
rowdy out there in the outfield. Although I will say, people love that drama out there because that's where all the action takes place, the fights
Hmm.
take place, the passion. But what about you, Nick? If you were single, I think you're no longer single now, but if you were single, would you consider something like that? Going to a game, meeting singles
Yeah,
in
why
that
not?
section?
It'd be fun. I mean, the bleachers in any stadium is a good time, right?
Right,
I mean, I've
right.
been to the bleachers in Yankee Stadium a number of times,
Okay.
Red
Yes.
Sox, Fenway Stadium. So, um, yeah, that's where all the excitement happens.
Yeah.
But I actually think that's pretty funny that they just designated, one area for singles. So it's
Yep.
a good marketing play for sure,
It is.
you
It
know?
gets people to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of cool. You know what's funny? I've never been in a bleacher area
Oh, really?
at a baseball stadium.
Oh, you're bougie.
Um, yeah, I know. I wouldn't say bougie. I just kind of prevented myself from going there because there
Yeah.
was a time a long time ago I dated this girl that was a big Dodger fan,
Mm,
and her whole family liked only going to the bleacher area. And
mm,
I wasn't for it because I knew what went down there. And at that time, the Dodger Stadium or the Dodger organization wasn't as cool, wasn't luxurious, wasn't whatever it is like it is today. It was kind of hood in a way. And I was
mm.
like, I ain't going in those hood areas and possibly getting beat up, dude. So I had never gone there at the Angel Stadium. Fortunately, as I was growing up, I went there a lot in the Padres Stadium. I was able to get some like regular seats, not great seats, but regular. So I never
Yeah.
had the opportunity to be in the bleacher area, but it'd be interesting to kind of go there one day. Not where the singles are, obviously. Now that I've been married, but it'd be kind of cool to take a look at it and see what that's like, that experience. So maybe I don't know, we could do some like get the group together and do a video there and see how that goes. But what I
Yeah,
don't
there
like
you go.
about that section is you don't have backrest. And maybe
I
it's because
know.
I'm getting older, but I don't like that.
Yeah, I know. I know. Tell
Yeah,
me about it.
yeah, yeah.
As I sit in my ergonomic chair.
I know, I know. Everything becomes
Uh,
more about comfort, and
yeah,
luxury. As I think as you get older, you just want luxury and comfort, and you kind of want to be a little bit further away from the big crowds. And
yeah,
yeah, it's just I think
100%.
I've always kind of been that way though, growing up.
Yeah, similar. I
So
mean, it's fun every once in a while, right? But I mean, when I
right,
was
right.
working in New York and I was going to Yankees games pretty often, I mean, I had a number of Yankees games where, yeah, I sat in the bleachers, some in just the regular stadium, and then I mean, there was a couple of times where I got box seats just because of people I knew. So
Damn,
it ranged.
networking.
It ranged.
Networking. There you go. Can you talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that? How you got the box seats? Maybe someone might need some help listening or watching that. Maybe they're not good at networking, and maybe you have some tips on how to get in the box seat because those are not inexpensive. Those are very expensive.
Yeah, well, one of my coworkers that I used to work with, he actually switched over and started working for the company I'm working for now. And at the time, he was on different client projects, and this is when things were good, and we got perks and whatnot. So
Yeah.
one of the perks that he was hosting this client at was box seats at Yankee Stadium, and
Oh shit.
they
Nice.
still had the tickets, and then I don't know, something happened. So he invited me, and actually, my mom was just so happening to be visiting at the time,
Uh huh.
so she ended up coming with me
Oh,
too.
cool.
And that was like one of her dreams. So I'm glad that worked out the way it did. But
Yeah.
it's definitely a different experience. It's more
Oh
like
yeah.
watching it in like a lounge, right? Because then you go out on the balcony, you really can't see much anyway. So you're watching
That's
it on
true.
the television most of the time. But you get unlimited food. I mean, I don't know how it is now because I haven't been in a box seat in a while, but
Mm-hmm.
then it was unlimited food, like sushi, whatever, a whole bunch of other stuff, unlimited
Right.
drinks, alcohol, whatever. So it was definitely a good time, good experience. And you get to go in certain areas of Yankee Stadium. So it was the new Yankee Stadium, it wasn't the old one.
Right.
And see a lot of the memorabilia stuff and the plaques and things like that, which was pretty cool too. So
The exclusive areas that no one else is
exactly,
like able to go to.
exactly,
Yeah,
the very
that's exactly what it is.
bougie areas.
And that's how business takes place. Like
Yeah,
deals get made there. You rub shoulders with the right people that you want to be
exactly.
like or are like you, but more so kind of like be like. That's what you strive for, and those particular areas is key to career success, I think.
It is.
I know
It is.
people bash sports, sometimes and say it's a waste of time, but if you're in a good spot at a stadium and you meet the right people, that'll change everything in your life potentially.
Yep.
Same thing with golf.
Without a
If you
doubt.
if you golf with the right people, oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
mean, that's everyone listening and watching, I think if you can spend the money or be in Nick's position, right? Networking, schmoozing, maybe brown nosing because maybe you're good at that,
Very
Nick. I'm just
funny.
kidding. I think it's important to spend the money and do that every once in a
Mhm.
while, especially if you're in like a I don't know business of some sort or sales.
Yeah.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, it's funny you
So,
say that too, because one of the podcasts I listen to, it's called Quote of the Day Show,
I
by Sean
think I've heard of
Croxton,
that.
which, yeah, if you guys haven't heard of it, I would definitely recommend tuning into it. But he basically posts a quote. It's a short, 10, 15-minute max
Okay.
podcast episode, but it's just motivational quote, right, for every day of the week. And one of the ones that I actually listened to too, I think it was Steve Harvey who was
Oh yeah.
talking, and he was
hmm
talking about how basically find a way to do things, even if it costs you and you spend money on it, but to put yourself in, like you were saying, situations where wealthy, of what wealthy people do or where wealthy people are, or people who are good in business or where you want to be in life, right? To put yourself one around those people, but two, to condition your mind to be in that place. So he was using the example of flying first
Mm,
class. He's like,
uh,
take one time, spend the money, and buy a first class ticket. And what it's going to do is going to condition your mind. And
yeah.
when you go back to coach, you're never going to want to be in coach again. It's like
Yeah.
your mind's going to be conditioned to go to
Yeah.
first class, and you're going to find a way to fly first class. He's like, and once you get a private jet, you're not going to want to fly first class anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your mind's going to be conditioned to
That's a
fly in
great
that
point.
private jet where you drive up, they take your bags, you walk up the stairs onto the plane, you don't got to take your shoes off and got to go through security, anything, right? And that's how your mind's going to start to think, to find a way to do that and make it happen, right?
100%.
So
100%. I think the conditioning of the mind is everything. And also you don't want to look like you're out
yes,
of place, right?
yes,
Kind of like
yeah.
I know this dates us and this is even before my time really as an adult. I mean, I was a kid. But like the whole Titanic, remember like Leonardo DiCaprio's at the table and you would think he's a homeless guy and he's actually like confident and he looks like he's a rich kid, but he's just
Yeah.
his presence and his ability to be able to feel like he's actually part of the wealthy class or whatever it is. But
Mhm.
no, that's 100% true. I think the more you experience that, the better you get, the better contacts you make. Same thing like what
Mhm.
happened with you, Nick, at your workplace. Was this person that invited you to the box suite? I know he was your coworker, but was he technically like at one level ahead of you or a few levels ahead of you in position or
No,
how did
no, he
that?
just transferred over to consulting, and then that's when consulting had a lot more perks than it does today,
Oh,
unfortunately.
oh, okay,
That's
okay,
when
okay.
times were good.
But you were at
Not to
J.P.
sound old.
Morgan before though. J.P. Morgan Chase
I
before
was.
that.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, yeah.
was the perks better at J.P. Morgan for the employees, or was it more so at consulting at that time?
No, more consulting.
Okay, and now
Yeah.
consulting is taking a nosedive from what I understand because of
Yeah.
AI. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's
Just in
probably
general. I mean,
reversed. Wall Street's probably more, or finance is probably more on the up with perks. I would imagine. I don't know, or maybe it's more
yeah,
so
I
like
don't know. I'm
tech.
not sure. I mean, it depends what division you're in, what you're doing, job
Yeah.
title is, that kind of stuff. I mean, I think a lot of the work on the consulting side is more, especially like tech consulting, is more like remote, and you're not going to client side as much, so unless you're higher
Yeah,
up like an
yeah,
MD or something.
right.
Whereas I think more on the finance side, it's a little bit still more in person, right? There's different types of, more in-person relationships. So
On the finance side.
on the finance side,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so because me as an agent, I just started doing this. I get a suite at the Angel Stadium. One
No,
because
that's true.
I grew up there. Uh,
Right.
Two because it's way more inexpensive by like 10x less expensive than a Dodger suite. And
Really? Okay.
anyways, oh yeah, dude, I saw I I saw for a moment because I was looking to do it at the Dodger Stadium. I think it was like I don't even want to say the number because I'm probably wrong, but I saw something around 50K to reserve it.
Oh,
And I
damn.
said, this is fucking crazy. This is all the big corporations that write it off.
Yeah.
I'm a small little business by myself, sole proprietor. So I'm like, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to the Angel Stadium.
Yeah.
That's the area I grew up in. I have a lot of Orange County clients. Some LA clients came too. So I invite people out and I kind of rotate on because I can't invite too many people. I think in the suites, I think it was
So
only
what
able
did
to
that
invite
run?
20 people. I think it ran me like 4 to 5K.
Okay, that's a lot better.
That's so much better.
Yeah.
But that I included alcohol.
Okay.
I
Good.
included food.
Nice.
So it would have been a lot less, but it ran around that price point.
That's less than I would have thought, to be honest. So it's good. It's a good deal.
Total. And but look at the Angels. Okay, so real quick, the
Yeah.
Angels are not doing good, or they weren't doing good last year.
Right.
This year, I don't know. We'll get into this year in a moment because the Angels were brought up. But because the Angel Stadium is more so to be cost effective, because Artie Moreno, unfortunately, he said during spring training, which was really horrific to hear of a manager or an owner, I mean, say that he cares more about being, what was it? It was something like he cares more about being cheaper in source of in terms of ticket prices versus winning. He cares more about being less expensive for the fans, to
Mhm.
attend than winning. Like winning is not a priority, which is horrific to say, but
Mm.
um, in a way, it kind of benefits people like myself because we can do things like that. And
Yeah.
not only did I have a fun time with my clients, but it also not that it was like the main intention because I just wanted to be, involved with them on a personal level, like you had said earlier. But I did get a few deals out of it because it reminded
Nice.
clients like, oh, Andrew exists. Andrew sells real
Right.
estate in Orange County and LA. So, it ended up working out. So can't be mad about that. But
Nice.
Angels, really quick, two things have gone on. It's only been 2 or 3 weeks of baseball season.
Mm.
The Angels, Adele, I think it's Joe Adele, outfielder. He robbed 3 home runs, and that's a huge deal, by the way. In one game, he robbed 3 home runs, and these catches were incredible in the outfield. So he made like headlines, social media went everywhere. And then
Okay.
there was also a fist fight from the Angels. I think it was with an Atlanta Braves player, and if you take a look at it, man, not only did they get in a fight, but the manager on the opposite team ends up tackling one of the Angel players, the one that was getting in the fist fight, and puts a stop to it. And his background, not only is he a manager, but he's also a fighter, like a
Mm.
current fighter, like a trainer, and trained in fighting. And it was kind of cool to watch because he put an end to it. And it was just an interesting thing. And so what I'm saying is the Angels have been in the headlines, and it's nice to see that the Angels are not in the headlines only to be a crappy team. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that and excited to do a suite maybe this year for some clients.
Nice. There you go. Hopefully get some
Yeah,
deals out of it.
hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for today. Anything else you want to touch on, maybe?
You want to talk about the player, the 19-year-old that got drafted to the Pirates?
Yeah, why don't you fill us in on that? Like I said, baseball continues to be the sport that's growing. Maybe that's why they have so
Yeah.
much budget to do this. But go for it. Tell us.
Yeah. So his name is Connor Griffin, and he's 19 years old. And
Crazy.
um,
Pirates.
he, Pirates. Yep. He's drafted onto the Pirates. So I'm just going to go back to the article here. So it said after appearing in just 6 games, he's the highest paid player in Pirates history after blowing past the $106 million deal the team handed Brian Reynolds in 2003. So
Wow.
I don't know the exact number that they gave him, but it was more than 106 million. So
Crazy.
that's it's quite a feat for a 19-year-old for sure.
I really hope he has some great wealthy, not wealthy, but wealth managers that can help him not spend that money and like
I know,
put it away.
right?
Oh
Let's
yeah,
hope so. But he apparently
I
is
sure hope so.
one of other. There was only 8 other players that were drafted under 20 years old in the last century, and some of those include Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, and Juan Soto. Which I didn't realize Juan Soto was that young when they drafted him, but that's pretty crazy. There's only been 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy. Well, the best pitcher of all time, it's arguable, but I mean, Tarek Skubal is one of them. He's on the Detroit
right.
Tigers, but Paul Skeens is on the Pirates. I think his contract might be coming up soon with the Pirates, and he's very young too, early 20s or maybe mid 20s, and he's probably going to be the next guy at the Pittsburgh Pirates that probably will be signing a major deal as well. So I think he also needs it because he's I think he's engaged, so he's definitely going to need that money to pay for a wedding and all that comes with it when you grow up. So it'd be good to see that too, and it'd be even better if he chooses to go to the Yankees and he moves to the Yankee team. Number one, because we're Yankee fans, so everyone listening, don't hate, but yes, I'm a Yankee fan and an Angel fan, by the way. Nick is a Yankee fan as well. Now, I know we've had some problems with some other co-hosts with me liking the Dodgers a little bit because, we had Tyler Glasnow on the show here,
Right.
as well as Olivia Garvey from the Dodger Stadium or from the Dodgers. And, that being said, I have to have some loyalty to our people there, right? And I have to root for Tyler Glasnow and things like that. And maybe we'll have some more players come on from different teams, and maybe I'll have to buy that hat too. So hopefully no one hates on that.
Just collecting them.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So this is a good one. Everyone like and subscribe. Please share this with people that are into business, real estate, and some baseball as well. We'll do some more topics on that, and we'll get this going again. I know this year it's been a little bit slower with the podcast team, but we're gonna get back and running and go from there. So like, subscribe, and just share away, please.
Yeah. All right. Take care.